Jhulan Goswami leads India's bowling charge as South Africa have been bowled out for 157 in the second ODI. We'll chat about all that on the Outside View live, powered by Vespa and Aprilia. But let's look at the SXR 160 before diving into it.
You're late.
Don't just live life, maxify it.
Welcome back to the Outside View live, powered by Vespa and Aprilia. Mamatha, Jhulan Goswami, what a player. 4 for 42, single-handedly almost pegging South Africa back. Your thoughts on her
Hats
spell?
off. Even now, she trains doubly hard, extremely hard, because she knows how crucial that forthcoming World Cup is. So I'm very pleased to see that, to see things happening for her. And this was what Boria was also saying, that up front, if Asima's, can break through 2-3 wickets, then this is a different ball game. And precisely what happened. And it's so heartening to see that there was pressure even at the other end, where Mansi Joshi kept it tight and clipped a wicket or two herself. So this helped things. And from there on, it was India on top.
Yeah, 7th 4-wicket haul in ODIs for Jhulan Goswami to add to the 2 5-ers that she has. Boria, coming to you, how impressed were you with her spell? You predicted that we want a wicket up front. She delivered, and there was also the bowling in tandem with Mansi Joshi. So your thoughts on India's seam attack in the second ODI?
Fantastic. I mean, and when Jhulan sort of does this, each time Jhulan comes to me and tells me, oh, Boria, how many more months, time to give up, I get angry. I seriously get angry with her. In fact, I've shouted at her multiple times in the last few months saying, don't talk nonsense. You have to play the World Cup of 22. And now we know why. I mean, we keep meeting for lunch, as you guys know, every 2 weeks. And every 2 weeks we discuss this. And she's like, Are, itna din to ho gaya. I said, what itna din ho gaya? World Cup ka abhi bhi wo trophy tumhare cabinet mein nahi hai. Usko jito and then you give up. We now know why. She's like old wine. Keeps getting better and better. Or like real premium single malt scotch. Add to the years, 12 to 18. She's just unbelievable. And, I can't tell you how happy when Jhulan and Mithali, these people who I consider family, I mean, when they do so well, and I know, as Mamatha said, the amount of hard work, I've said this on our last show, 2 days and the team was not getting announced. And obviously everybody was getting a tad frustrated. And she said, the Bengal team is training in Kalyani. Let me go and train with them for 1 day. And you can understand that it is still inside. It's burning. I'm very, very pleased for her.
Yeah, surreal performance, surreal effort into training. But Claire, coming to you, Liz Lee fell up front, and we saw through the Pakistan series that the in-swinger troubles her a lot, especially at the start. India missed Shikha Pandey on that aspect because she's similar to Diana Begg, who troubled Liz Lee. But here was Jhulan Goswami using all her experience, trapping Liz Lee up front, and that kind of always. And from there, actually, South Africa went on the back foot, didn't they?
Yeah, look, that was just, I was absolutely, unfortunately it wasn't for 50, but it was absolutely fantastic. I felt like I was reading a really, really good book. I've got up to make myself a cup of tea. I'm a bit disappointed, obviously, from a South African perspective, but just absolutely enthralled by how it sort of all just sort of come to the fore and worked. I thought India were phenomenal. Jhulan, I mean, we can't say more. It was just a fantastic spell. And from a quick bowler or an opening bowler, she came on, she got that 1 wicket with the new ball, which is perfect, which is almost like ideal. And then she came back later on in her spell and then picked up sort of another 3 wickets. Unfortunately, unlucky to miss out on getting a fifer with that no ball, because I really thought she absolutely deserved it. But just to go back to your original question about Liz Lee, we spoke about it at length in the Pakistan innings. She has that tendency early on in her innings to sort of play across the line. And if you watch what her head does, she kind of falls over to the off stump, and then that back comes out sort of like horizontally, and then she gets herself sort of into trouble. Instead of staying nice and compact and keeping that bat nice and straight, she tends to get herself into a lot of trouble. But that was set up. And I know a lot of people were going, oh, that was a loose ball down the leg side when she got called for the wide. It was not a loose ball down the leg side. She was setting Lizelle Lee up. She was just trying to find quite that right line with that ball nipping back. We saw a lot of in swing. She got a lot of in swing from the new ball, and that's exactly what she was trying to do. She just straightened it up too much. It sort of hit middle stump, and then it went off down the leg side when she was called for the wide. And then I think it was 2 balls or 3 balls later, she corrected it. It was just outside that off stump. You saw it nip back, and you knew it was LBW. So I thought it was fantastic bowling, and it was really well set up. And South Africa just really couldn't sort of get going from that. Lees and Goodall got a good partnership, but they were in trouble. When you sort of 20 for 2, you're always going to be on the back foot.
Yeah, fantastic bowling by a senior, a veteran who's showing all her skills in the repertoire. Coming to you, Boria, you told us about Test cricket being back for women in India to play Test cricket. Mansi Joshi kind of has auditioned to the T when it comes to Test match cricket, because she was getting the ball to swing into the left-hander away from the right-hander. She picked up 2 wickets, 7 overs for just 23 runs. Both those dismissals had a tune of Test cricket to it, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, and the shape and also the time in which she sort of got the third wicket, that 60-run partnership, 20 for 2 to 80 for 2. They were batting well, the captain leading, and at that point in time, so very pleased because, Shikha Pandey not there. Obviously, there's pressure on Mansi Joshi. Wasn't picked for the first game. Monica Patel preferred pressure. If you don't deliver, a very able performer is sitting outside. There's been plenty of criticism. So all said, and you feel pleased. And did you see the reaction? And that reaction said it all. That you want that wicket. I love these things about sport. Sport for me, you know what? It allows you to fail in public, and it allows you to come back and win in public. That is the only thing in the world that allows. If I fail in academia, I will mourn in private, not in sport. If Mamatha fails, Claire fails, they fail in front of us, and we are the ones who will tear into them. Next day when they win, when they come back and perform, we are the ones who are going to praise them. That's what sport is, and I'm very pleased for Mansi Joshi.
Yeah, great words that. But Mamatha, coming to you, Mansi Joshi wasn't a regular starter. I mean, wasn't the first choice starter because she didn't play the first ODI. And how good was she to kind of come back in the second ODI, replace a youngster, and then do so well as she did?
Yeah, very pleasing. If you ask me, she should have been the first choice in the first ODI itself. But, team management had other thoughts. But what I liked was she held a tight line. She kept teasing them there outside that off, and then eventually they fell for the bait. And that's what it's all about, outswing bowling. And I like the way even she bowled to the left-hander, kept it within the stumps, brought it back. So I think the making of a good bowler there. And I like the energy in her bowling. She was just pushing it through. So that was nice to see. It's very pleasant. I've seen little of Mansi. I'm very happy to watch and, see a whole spell of her. I think there's a lot of potential for India's future there.
I just want to add that I think that partnership works really, really well. You've got Julan with that experience, with that in swing, and then Mansi comes away, and that outswing is just beautiful. I understand why management probably would have given the youngster a go. She also another arm, different variation in it. But I mean, I think that combination is just superb. She also was really brave. At times she pitched the ball up, and yes, she overpitched it slightly just to see what the swing was like. And yes, she did get hit through the covers a couple of times, but you'll take that any day of the week when she's getting that away swing. And then she picked up 2 beautiful wickets. And to get Laura Wolfhard in that situation, that just shows really clever bowling. I thought it was a fantastic opening spell by those 2 opening bowlers.
Yeah, they say that India is a batting country, that everyone kind of first picks up the cricket bat, but to see the faces light up talking about seam bowling, pace bowling, it's a really different feeling. But coming to you, Claire, that partnership between Sune Lees and Lara Goodall looks so good, because in the pre-match show you mentioned how vital it is for Lara Goodall to get a score, to show that she belongs in that South African middle order, and to see her do that, see her stitch the 60-run stand with Sune Lees, just heartbreaking to miss out on that second ODI 50. So your thoughts on how well the left-hander went about with her business?
Yeah, look, I'm very, very happy for Lara Goodall. I've been singing her praises for quite a long time. She comes from Western Province here in Cape Town, where I'm situated. So I have followed her career, and and she has so much potential, but we keep repeating it. She just kind of doesn't step up, when she's given the opportunity. And I think she did really well today. I mean, yes, she missed out on 50, but she came in at a difficult time. Her and Sinead, I thought, batted really well together to rebuild the innings, rotated the strike, as we want everyone to do. But it was a touch of genius. So in saying all of this, one of my notes that I made out of this game was Mithali Raj's captaincy, and her bowling changes were spot on. She did 2 bowling changes, and 2 bowling changes got her 2 wickets. Who would have thought you're going to put Harman on to bowl? Like, why? I mean, you're doing well, you're keeping everything tight, and then you get the lady that's on 49, you get her out. It was a class of absolute genius. And when Cup was sort of starting to settle in, who do you bring back? Your best bowler that India's had. And what happened? Goswami got her quickly. And for me, that really was vitally important. Mithali Raj's sort of experience and how she captains really came through in getting those 2 crucial wickets. And I thought Goodall should have been just a little bit cleverer. You kind of don't look at Harman as your like a frontline spinner. The concentration kind of goes. You go, oh, okay, cool. Here I'm on 49, easy single, or to go to my 50. So I thought that was a touch of captaincy class with that bowling change. Sinead Luce also really well. I thought the partnership, they needed to get that partnership together to form a bit of stability. But again, we've just spoken about Muncie, and I thought Muncie set up Sinead Luce brilliantly again with that away swing. She pitched it up. Obviously, Lisa's now getting her confidence, so she's wanting to get the ball, off the square quite quickly, and then she got caught behind. So again, I know I'm unpacking it quite a lot, and I apologize if I'm going on for a long time, but I really just enjoyed how that whole sort of story unpacked itself, and you could see the thoughts in the bowlers, you could see the thoughts in the captaincy, and at times I just think the South Africans weren't as clever or weren't kind of going, what are they trying to do here? What should I be aware of? What is the match situation? And so maybe from a learning curve, from a South African point of view, they need to be looking at those sort of things. Why is India doing this? Why is India making those changes? So as a batsman, I can just be a little bit more, more prepared and kind of know what might be coming my way.
Yeah, the thing about experience, they say, is that it can't be brought in the shop around the corner. And that's where, Boria, I would like to get you in. Mithali Raj, 310 international games, the most capped in women's international. But we talked about this at length, that India as a team were out of action for a long time. They lost the first test, but how good was their fielding, the energy that they showed today, Boria?
Oh, fabulous. And look at the catching. Look at the catching. I mean, except that one blemish by maybe Sushma Verma where that stumping could have happened. But otherwise, I mean, spot on, absolutely spot on. And it's good to see. That is also the hunger. I said it is only natural. 15 months, they will look a tad rusty. I mean, you cannot fault them for it. You cannot fault them. Look at the kind of intensity they've exhibited today. Claire is spot on. And look at how many overs Harman bowled. 1. Got it? Move. Come back with your 2 frontliners. Finish it off. That is ruthlessness. That is relentless pressure. Fabulous captaincy. And now, you have the time. 160 chase. 50 overs. One person will get in. No pressure. Play 100 balls. Score 50 or through. So this is what India needed. Game time out there in the middle. You've got them on the mat. Close it out. 1-all. Build up momentum. Move on. Fantastic from India. Fielding, captaincy, bowling, ability, intensity. Everything has come together this game.
Yeah, look at what that news of Test cricket has done for the Indian team. Mansi Joshi, we talked about her lines and lengths.
And you said that. Get Shikha Pandey into that mix for England. In swing, out swing. Look at that. I mean, it is important that the board does this. They have done that. I know they're planning one with Australia. I know that. I know Saurav Ganguly is thinking. Yesterday we were chatting and over lunch, and he said, "You want a birthday present?" I'm like, "What?" He said, "We are announcing this evening a test match." And I literally jumped up because that's what you want for the women. Fantastic. Very, very pleased.
Yeah, just the 1 over for Harmanpreet Kaur, but it was a wicket maiden, which was important. Right then, throughout the India versus South Africa series, we at Women's Cricket Zone will be celebrating former players, and it's time for the Westpa Know Your Player. Mamatha Maben is here, and this time, once again, I'm going to rewind that clock and talk about your 6 for 10 in an ODI versus Sri Lanka. The best till date, the best figures for India in ODI. Mamatha, how did you go about that spell? Because I think no Sri Lankan batter seemed to have a clue in that spell.
Truth be told, I was a fifth, sixth bowler in that cog. Always I used to come to bowl 3 or 4 overs, sometimes 5, to fill that quota, and somebody who could bat and bowl. And that game, I was not keeping too well, but the coach said, nothing doing, you have to play. You have to go about it. Unfortunately, we lost the toss and they batted first. Then she said, no, at least for half an hour, you go and come. And when I went that day, for one reason or the other, Julian, Amita, Neetu, David, Nushin, all were going for runs and we were not able to make any headway. That is when I said, okay, let me come and chance my arm. And you won't believe it, that day, wherever I put the ball, it was either bowled or LBW, probably because we were playing at Kandy, where there was movement. I was somebody who could move the ball in there as well as off the wicket. That was my specialty, though at a medium pace, but that was what happened. And I think in no time I had 4 wickets. And in the meanwhile, somebody got a couple from the other. And then I decided, okay, fine, you stem the rot here. Let the main bowlers come back. And again, they started going for runs. So then again, I brought myself back. That's how you will find it is some 6.1 overs and 6 wickets. And even in that, there was one non-existent single, which there was no backup. So eventually it went for 5 runs. Otherwise, it was one such day, which happens in a cricketer's career where whatever you do clicks. I think that was my day. And it is a very fond memory where, fortunately it is still, but I want somebody to break it. So
it's so modest of you to say that it's one day where everything clicks, but 6 for 10 in an ODI. For those of you watching, let that number sink in. 6 for 10 in a limited overs game. Shashikala Sirivardhane, Randika Gana Helage, Dedunu Silva, Chamari Polgampola, Chamani Senaviratne, all these wickets. Did you kind of have any particular wicket that's close to your heart where you kind of set the batters up?
Not really. All I knew was the ball was moving. So I kind of kept it on that fourth stump line, 4th and 5th stump line. And so I don't remember, but I think there are quite a few gold and LBWs in that. So I just tried to keep a good line and the ball moved. And hence, I think they got beaten by the swing. And hence, I picked up those wickets. And I'm just happy that, it happened that day. And that's one thing very fondly I recollect.
Yeah, for those of you watching, don't imagine that she's a bowler who's got a wicket. She's an all-rounder, because the next memory that I'm going to ask her about is her 50 against England in the ODI. That was some knock. Mamatha, your thoughts, your memory, your recollection?
Comeback. That was my comeback game. I actually, after the World Cup, I did not perform well. Promptly, I got dropped, but it took me 8 years to come back. And eventually, even when I came back, the first 2 games I didn't get to bat. There was a mini kind of collapse in that game where Mithali and all of them fell a little early. So that was my opportunity. And there, I think myself and Arundhati Kirkire, we put a good partnership and we pulled India through. So I got an unbeaten 50 on my return. So that was again very, very pleasing for me to get a 50 on my comeback game.
Yeah, she walked in at 3 for 54 and then a 62-run stand with Mithali Raj and then a 75.
There was Pearson there was Claire Cowan, and they had a really good attack. What was pleasing was lower order, lower middle. We kind of showed up the game for us, and so that was very pleasing.
Yeah, Lucy Pearson, the left-arm seamer, who Mithali Raj, of course, if you kind of look at the fiery volleys we did with her, has picked her as one of the tougher bowlers she's faced in international cricket. So that tells a lot about it. India versus South Africa, let's come back to it. 157 is what South Africa have got in the second ODI. Coming to you first, Claire, we saw how the seam bowling attack worked for India. 6 wickets between Julan and Mansi Joshi. Do you think at the halfway mark, Marizan Kaap and Shabnim Ismail might be licking their lips to and couldn't wait for having the ball in their hands?
I think I'll be licking their lips because I think there is a little bit of movement out there. But they can be licking their lips and eating as many chicken wings as they want to. I can't quite see South Africa because they'll have to bowl India out here, and I just can't. With the glimpses that we saw in that first ODI, the Indian batting lineup has too much experience, and I don't think they're going to fall for any silly little trick. So what I think South Africa need to do here is they need to set themselves some very, not easy, but some process goals. So as bowlers, they need to go, what are the line and lengths that we want to bowl? Maybe a couple of targets. Let's say in the first 10 overs, we want to try and get at least sort of 2 wickets. Maybe in, between over 11 and 30, we want to pick up 4 wickets or something like that. And just focus on processes. I think if you're going to go out there and try and expect that you're going to run through the Indian batters, you're going to be very disappointed. So it really is about process. Let's work on line and length, especially from Cup and Ismail up front. Kaka will come on as first change. And again, I thought she bowled very nicely in that first ODI. Again, let's get the line, let's get the length going. But definitely South Africa don't have enough on the board to put any kind of scoreboard pressure on the Indians. And the Indian batting lineup, it's a superior batting lineup. And I think they will munch at 157 pretty quickly. I agree they need to take their time. So the other positive here for India is this can now be a match, like a middle match practice. They need time in the middle. So, don't put pressure on the batsmen to score as quickly as possible. Let the openers get in. Let them settle. Let them get a feel for bat on ball. Let them soak up the atmosphere and really feel comfortable. When 3 and 4 have to come in, the same thing can happen. So just really use it and get some sort of really good middle time out there. That as the batting unit, that's how I would sort of go about, this innings.
Valid points. Boria, coming to you, final thoughts. You saw a movement there. What's your message to Jemimah Rodrigues and Smriti Mandhana when they walk out to bat?
Just play a natural game because both of them are free-flowing batters. They will score. We know they will score. As long as they are around, I thought Claire summed it up quite nicely. Finish it off in 40. You don't need to bat 50, but at the same time, don't try 25. Don't try 30. Just go 40. I mean, this is your game. You finish them off for 157, play your game, get practice, get game time, be on top. I think India will win by 5 or 6 wickets. It'll be a 4 or 5. I mean, that's how India will win. Maybe even 7. I would be pleased if they do that in 40 because that means 240 odd balls out there. That's important for India. At the same time, obviously, and most importantly, it has to be 1-1 by the end of the day. And all of us will be mighty pleased.
Yeah, Mamatha, you see us talking when India is 1-1 at the post-match show?
Pardon?
1-1
or not?
Do you see?
Yeah, definitely, most definitely. And I also see a solid knock from the top 3. Somebody is going to go big here. And probably, if at all, Mithali could come and finish the game. But I'm looking at Smriti or Jamie going big here. Definitely banking on Smriti to get 70, 80 plus.
Right then, mid-match show done. India versus South Africa second ODI. We wonder if it's the magazine because remember, download the magazine, Women's Cricket Zone magazine issue 4 that we released yesterday because we wonder if that has an effect that has a role to play in that. We'll reserve our final thoughts there. See you everybody on the post-match show. See you.
You're late. Don't just live life. Maxify it.